We may have a couple more people jump on, but we are going to record this so that we can share it out after. So I'll just give it a minute or two before I begin, just so that we can see if anyone else joins us. All right, well, we'll go ahead and get started. My name is Peggy Sue Bean. I'm the Special Projects and Initiatives Manager for the City of Hopkins. And today I'm just going to share a little bit about the Hopkins Climate Solution Fund. And I can take any questions either in the chat as we go or at the end. So whichever is easiest. If you're watching this, and on the recording later, you can go ahead and send me an email and I'll have my contact information at the end of the slide deck. So we'll just kind of go through this. It should be a pretty quick presentation and then we can take any questions. Get my slides right. So like I said, we're going to go through an overview of the Hopkins Climate Solutions Fund, some of the rebates that residents are eligible for outside of the Hopkins Climate Solutions Fund that are really meant to be paired with the program. We'll go over the eligibility for the program, discuss the timeline and how to apply, and then answer any questions. So the Hopkins Climate Solutions Fund is an incentives-based approach to help residents and businesses transition to cleaner and more efficient energy. This program is really meant to be paired with and leverage utility rebates and eventually federal incentives to help reduce the upfront costs associated with replacing energy equipment and installing renewable energy systems or other things that will electrify and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. So again, we talk about this program a lot in the context of these Xcel Energy or CenterPoint Energy rebates. In the future, and I'll discuss them very quickly. We'll also talk about federal incentives and tax credits, as well as federal point of sale rebates. So Xcel offers a variety of rebates on items that help electrify your home or make electric equipment more efficient. So heating and cooling systems, water heaters, efficient lights. That one's really more geared towards commercial properties, but also weatherization, electric vehicle charging equipment, and most notably solar installations. So again, these rebates that we offer at the city are really meant to be paired with one of the utility rebates, and Xcel offers a very wide variety of rebates that you can attain. CenterPoint Energy also has a handful of rebates. Now, the Hopkins Climate Solutions Fund is really geared towards electrification. And so we don't match many items that CenterPoint does give rebates for, but weatherization items is something that CenterPoint Energy does give quite a lot of rebates on. And so we will match those if you're looking for some of those weatherization dollars. They also offer a handful of items, like I said, that are not eligible for the Hopkins Climate Solutions Fund, but we really encourage residents, business owners, or commercial property owners to look at that. As you're doing your projects, there may be other things that you're looking to do that you can still get CenterPoint Energy rebates for. And then finally, federal tax credits and rebates. This is one that is a little bit tricky. The program is really designed to complement the rebates that have come through the Inflation Reduction Act, which was passed by the bipartisan legislature in 2022. This is pretty slow, though. Obviously, we're already a year out from this having been passed, and we still have not quite seen how pieces of this are going to be implemented. I think that we'll start to see that in 2024. So if you are wondering, you know, about some of the things that you've seen in that, whether it's dollars for induction stoves or dryers or any of the other items that are in this, we anticipate not being able to have residents or businesses access those until 2024. So you don't need this to participate in the Hopkins Climate Solutions Fund, but it is, you know, something to consider as you are looking at other projects that you might do. Perhaps in this year of funding for the Hopkins Climate Solutions Fund, you might go for one item, and then hopefully we will continue to have funding available for this program every year, and this might be useful to for you to know. One thing that we're sort of you know, kind of anticipating is that in tax credits and then the rebates are separate. So those tax credits would be something that you would get as you file your taxes. And so we really, you know, encourage you to consult a tax preparer as you explore what that might look like for you. And then on the rebates side of things, we don't quite know how that will roll out. That may be something that is point of sale. As you purchase an item, that rebate's going to come directly through if you purchase it at Best Buy, for example, right at the point of sale. One thing I do want to highlight for folks watching this is that the piece of this that we do know quite a lot of information is around solar. So there are some really great tax incentives for solar, especially for organizations that were not previously eligible for solar. So for nonprofit and government entities, there is now a direct tax credit that is available. And so we do want to make sure that if you're watching this and you're you know, a nonprofit housing provider or a nonprofit that owns a building, there are additional dollars that you were not eligible for from the federal government that you could seek now. We also would really, you know, encourage you to spend some time looking at some resources. These are also available on the Hopkins Climate Solutions Fund website, but Electrify Everything Minnesota through the Center for Energy and the Environment has some really great information about how you might switch to electric heating or appliances, how you might better weatherize your home. And so that's a great place to really just kind of learn a little bit more about this and what projects really might make sense for your home. And then again, if you're trying to estimate what you might save, again, through tax credits or rebates through the IRA. Again, there's not quite a way to access this money yet, but this is a great informational resource, is rewiringamerica.org. You can go in there and kind of look at, you can put in your income, your zip codes, any information, and it will kind of provide you with what tax credits and savings you may be able to pursue. Again, with the caveat that as you look at anything tax credit wise, we really encourage you to work with a tax. So moving on to our fund, there are 4 sort of eligible entities for the Hopkins Climate Solutions Fund. So residential is broken into income qualified and traditional residential. So residents who earn less than 80% of the area median income, so under 48,000 adjusted gross income, are able to access a little bit larger proportion of funds. And those, you know, matching is a little bit higher. And then traditional residential, in both categories, it doesn't matter if you own or rent. However, we do really encourage renters to work with their property owners. If you are looking to do something, you know, a physical change to your unit, you're very welcome to apply, but we do need your landlords or property owners' permission for that. And then multifamily buildings and businesses. So we consider that commercial / multifamily as you're looking through the program. But these are properties that are 5 or more units or those commercial businesses. Again, if you are leasing space within a business, you are still eligible for the funds. But again, we do need that permission of the property owner and encourage you to work together on an application. For some properties, multifamily or commercial properties may be eligible for a bonus of 10% of dollars for a project if they are in this green infrastructure bonus zone. I'll show a map of this in just a second, but these are properties where we have some kind of heat island concern throughout the community due to a variety of factors. And so any project that also proposes to do one of these three things, whether that's convert 10% of pervious surfaces into either cool pavement or back to grass, provide shade trees, or replace rooftops with white membranes or green roofs, will be able to access an additional bonus. So the properties are highlighted here in tan. Again, these are along Blake Road and Excelsior Boulevard. This map is made available online, and you can kind of look and see if your parcel qualifies. If you have questions about this, please do not hesitate to reach out directly. But these are all the parcel. This is the area where we would consider giving that 10% bonus zone if there is also something that sort of complements reducing heat island in this area. So moving on to projects that are eligible, a variety of projects, they're all listed here on this slide, so I won't read them out fully, but there are a couple of things that I will just call out in this project. So one, home energy squad planner visits. This is really important. We are funding the planner visit, not the saver visits. So these are a little bit more, intensive visits where you're really getting a little bit better information about what is could be done in your home to make your home a little bit more efficient or increase weatherization, save electric costs. Air source heat pumps. I don't have it here on the slide. These are a great source of both heating and cooling, but we do require that they are cold climate ready. So this is, if you're considering an air source heat pump, we really want you to ask that question of your installer, is this really meant for a cold climate? There are systems that are meant for the weather temperature changes that we have here in Minnesota. And so we really want to encourage you to make sure that that is what you're looking for. And then electric bicycles, we would do one per household. So we've had this question throughout the program launches, right now, just because of the limited funding, we're not doing an electric bike for every single person in your household. It would just be for one. If we have future funding for this program, we definitely encourage you to apply again, whether that's for a bike or other items here. Every year that we have this funding, we do encourage applicants to come back. But in this first round, again, that's just only one electric bike that we would be funding. So again, all of this is online with the rebate. So I don't have in this slide deck any of the rebate dollar amounts. I encourage you to look at that on the website. And of course, you can reach out with any questions. For multifamily and commercial, eligible projects are a little bit smaller. We're really focused on things, again, that are electrification focused and really meant to reduce greenhouse gas emissions while also saving money. And so lighting, this can be especially in older warehouses and in older facilities, helping businesses switch over to LED lighting can be a huge cost saving for commercial properties. Solar energy systems, Hopkins has a huge amount of solar potential. So we really encourage, especially if you have a big roof, like what's pictured in this project here, we really do encourage you to seek solar energy systems funding. And then some of those sustainable transportation items like electric vehicle charging and electric bikes. This is one where actually for businesses, we do allow two. So if you're looking to reduce car trips through providing electric bikes, the city of Hopkins, we actually have quite a few employees who use an electric scooter to go between our buildings. And so they can be a great way to cut down on vehicle trips. And then there are some other electrification and efficiency projects that we would consider for commercial properties based on those Excel and CenterPoint rebates. So as you look through rebates that are available to commercial and multifamily projects, we really encourage you to reach out and ask us, hey, is this particular item something you would consider covering? And we can kind of work through that on a case-by-case basis based on what Excel, Energy, and CenterPoint are offering. So the actual application timeline, and this is something that we want to make sure that you are aware of how this funding opportunity works. We only have $150,000 for this first fund. I say only. $150,000 is quite a big investment for our community, but we know that money is going to go quite quickly. And so we are doing this in a lottery style system, especially because in that traditional residential, so the non-income qualified residential, there's just $30,000 available to program participants. And so we have this is open for another 2 weeks to 3 weeks. And it closes the day after Labor Day on September 5th. Following that, we are going to pull a lottery for any fund that is over. So if we have $50,000 of requests, we're going to actually pull a lottery. And then grantees will be, let known that they have received that funding. Nothing should be purchased prior to that September 18th date. So until you have been notified that you have, been pulled through the lottery, that you've been selected to receive a grant, you should not purchase anything. This is really important. So if you have purchased something over the summer or in the last 12 months, I've gotten a lot of questions of, well, we just did an induction stove. Unfortunately, we just are not doing any retroactive reimbursements. This is really meant to push folks who aren't already thinking necessarily about this, or really looking for that extra boost of cash. So if you've done a project recently, I really encourage you. There's so many options. I really doubt that there's a home in Hopkins or a business or multifamily building that's done every single thing. There's probably something else you're eligible for. So we really encourage you to apply for another item that's on the Climate Solutions Fund. Once you've been notified that you have received grant funding, we encourage you to make that purchase, and then we will reimburse you the grant amount for your purchase. For example, if you were purchasing an electric bike, you purchase that once you've been notified of your grant award. You'll bring in that receipt, and then we will write you a check for that. We would like to see all of those funds used up by December 31st. However, I know with solar energy, that's where there is a little bit of an asterisk here. We know that solar installation is likely not to happen until the spring. And so that is one area where we will work with individuals who are applying for solar to have those funds be awarded in the spring once the solar energy equipment is installed. So this graphic here is also on the website and is timelined out on the website as well. So really encourage you to take a look at that and get your applications in those next couple of weeks. Moving on to the application, our application process is very easy. That is a big signature of this project, is making it as easy as possible. I have a picture here of what that PDF application looks like if you choose to do that, or take a paper application at City Hall, but you can do this all online. You don't necessarily need to have that contractor information. You may be choosing to do something yourself, or if you're purchasing an e-bike, you won't have that information. We are looking for you to identify the rebate that you are looking to select. So if you are going to get Excel rebates or CenterPoint Energy rebates, we're looking for you to mark that on the application. Or if you need help and you're not quite sure how the rebate process works, or you aren't sure what you might be eligible for, staff here at the city can kind of help you walk through that. And then selecting which project you're looking to do. Again, if you're watching this or you've seen the fund and you're not quite sure what makes the most sense for you, you could start with just that Home Energy Squad planner visit. They can go through your home and walk you through what items might make the most sense for you. And then in a future year, apply for perhaps a cooling and heating air source heat pump. Or, it may take you a little bit more time. Once you do that, maybe you do want to go with solar or something else. So that planner visit can be a great place to start. And we're happy to have that as your application. Or if you know exactly what you want, go ahead and, select what makes the most sense to you. We do try to be as much of a resource as possible, but again, we really recommend that Center for the Energy and Environment Electrify Everything website. That's going to help you learn a lot about some of these technologies. I I know a lot. I probably can't explain the intricacies of every single item on this project. So that's where those Helm Energy Squad planner visits can be really helpful. I will also say that outside of this, you could choose to pay for that planner visit yourself, so that you could apply for a program here. So you could reach out directly to the Center for Energy and Environment and have a planner come out to your house, do that planner visit, and then apply for an item here. That the order of how you do that is totally up to you. And there are a ton of resources. I know that you can also connect with the utility companies directly to kind of learn a little bit more about what might make the most sense for your home. So with that, I can stop my presentation and answer any questions for folks on the call. Otherwise, feel free to contact me directly. Again, this is a webinar that will be posted online and shared out, so you can email me or call me directly with any questions that you have. And with that, I can take any questions. It's a pretty quick presentation. Does the city know if we are income qualified or not? That is a great question. Yes, so we will be asking for proof of income, likely your most recent tax tax forms, to verify that income qualification. So yes, we are looking for people to verify that. We will do that. We try to make the application process as easy as possible. So on the front end, you can just apply and select that you'd like to receive the income qualified rate. But we will, at the end, when we will require a W-9 from everyone to receive the funds from the city. So as we do that W-9 process, we'll also ask those who have applied for income qualified dollars to verify their income. Another question, if a resident applies for a solar panel system, would that be fully or partially funded? That's a great question. So in terms of solar panel systems, and I apologize, I know that our rebate is quite high. I'm going to go ahead and just stop sharing so that I can pull up the rebates. The short answer to your question is no. We do not fully fund energy systems. Now that will depend on the size of your home. Some energy systems can be, $10,000 or $20,000. Some can be $70,000, and so the cost of that ranges pretty widely based on your house and your energy use. There are also, you also can get some good rebates. And I apologize, my internet is loading so slowly as I try to pull up the exact dollars here that we're offering. So for solar, for income qualified residential systems, we're offering 10% of the system cost up to $5,000. For non-income qualified residential, we're offering 10% of the system cost up to $4,000. So it's going to really depend on the size of your system and cost. So the short answer is no. But I think these rebates, the program is really designed to be extremely generous and to offer, pretty substantive rebates. So it likely won't cover the full cost, but with tax credits and some of the incentives that you might get through the utility company, I think this covers a pretty good portion of the cost. Great. Well, with that, I'm going to go ahead and stop recording here.